if you are, I know you'll come back here. We'll try to stay in Haventon, but we'll go wherever's safest. With Mary, I can't take any risks. We love you. Not a moment goes by that we're not thinking about you. Try to find us. We'll be waiting for you. Julie and Mary, May 23rd.
Today on review, we are looking at I Am Alive for Epcot Live Arcade for $15. The story of I Am Alive is, of course, a man who was off on a trip across America, and then, quote-unquote, the event happened, which is made up of mainly earthquake, flood, and the normal routine apocalyptic scenario. And the game takes place a year after this have happened, after that man had walked across America to get back to his hometown to find his daughter and wife. And the gameplay begins right when you entering his hometown. So you go throughout the game, or late the tutorial, teaching you the ins and outs of combat and bluffing and so on, which we will get to in a moment. But pretty much after the tutorial, he more or less forget about his family and get wrapped up in a whole nother side plot with a little girl, another little girl, and a couple other civilians, and helping them to get to rescue from, quote, the random crazies, cannibals, psychos, or just very unpleasant people, which, once again, another staple of apocalyptic stories. But the gameplay of I Am Alive is pretty much made up of platforming and rescuing civilians. The civilians, you will have 20 civilians scattered across this small little town, which after a few levels will open up and let you go pretty much anywhere you want within that town. And the civilians will be asking you for random things, might it be food, cigarette, alcohol, and if you happen to have the item on you, you can give it to them, which they will end up telling you more and more of the backstory of what happened, what been going on, and so on, and give you a little more in depth into the universe of I Am Alive. But here comes the interesting part of it. Of course, like I mentioned, the food or items they all want, you could eat or smoke or drink or whatever of the items and then not have the item to give to them. So it really becomes the pull and take type of scenario of, do you eat the food to help you, or do you save the stuff just in case you find a civilian that want it? And with 20 other scattered across the city, you never know who really want what. But the items itself for you are actually you to re-energize your health, and since this is a platforming, you have a stamina charge with what very similar to what you will see in Shadow of the Colossus. With more you climb, more your bar go down, and you have to find places to rest. But if the bar go completely down, you will have the ability to push the right trigger as quickly as possible, which will give you a stamina boost. But the issue here with that is when you recharge your stamina, it won't recharge all the way. You will slowly have it be taking up your overall stamina. And this is where the food come in. Food will give you your stamina back as you climbing, and some item will actually make it where you get your stamina back completely, any of the ones that you have lost. So that's where the push and pull comes of the item. Do you take it? Do you save them? And so on. But when you are climbing, you of course can find little item which you can hang off of, which will let your stamina recharge, which is useful since in some of the ending section, the climbing can be extremely long and can add real threat to the game overall. Because if you fall, you die, and depending on how high it is, which brings us to the problem with the game overall, or one of the main problems, is called the checkpoint system. The checkpoint system is pretty much non-existent here. You, of course, the game will checkmark when you begin a level, and when you get like halfway to the level doing a major story plot. The issue here is, if you, in some of the scenario when you can just run around and do whatever, if you run off and you rescue like 5 people, and then you fall off a building, you go back to the beginning of that level. And that can get a little redundant and just overall frustrating if you're trying to rescue these people and punishing you for running around trying to save these people. And on top of that, you only have so many continues, which is not that difficult because you will find continues laying around as video camera, which you can pick up, which will add to your continue. But it's still extremely frustrating just to know one screw up can make you lose anywhere from 2 minutes up to like 30 minutes of your gameplay time. But the only actual other issue with the climbing side of it the control can be a little finicky every now and again. Mainly when you're trying to slide up and down pipe, your character doesn't seem to want to get off a ledge and climb down the pipe, which also can add a little bit of frustration. But as far as like sliding down building, you can slow yourself down and roll to avoid like pipes and stuff sticking out of building that you're sliding down. That worked perfectly fine. It just sadly, the climbing can be a little frustrating, and the checkpoint is also a little frustrating. But in the combat side of the deal here, you don't really have combat. This is more take a puzzle outlook on the combat itself. You will get a gun, which in many cases you will not have more than 4 bullets in it at any point within the game. So you come down to the scenarios of, do you pull your gun out and bluff the people and either throw them in fire or throw them off ledge it, or just hold them away while you avoid and go around them to they are satisfied and stop chasing you, or do you actually fight? And then you also have the side of you cannot draw your weapon and you can just slowly walk away from them, but in some cases the NPC will actually come up to you and pretty much start hassling you, and then when you can pull the white trigger and slit their throat, which can be a surprise attack on them. Or if you're extremely lucky, in some cases you can walk up behind them and sneak behind them and slit the throat also. And then if you have to get into a one-on-one battle with somebody with machete, it mainly made up of pushing the white trigger the fastest you can do, and faster you do, the faster you will slit the throat. That's pretty much it for the combat. But later on in the game, it becomes a little more difficult because you will find people who will actually start calling your bluff. If they will lie, like you pull the trigger and they hear no gun go off, they will rush you. Or you hold them hostage for too long, they might will lie you are bluffing and charge at you, and you will find enemy later on who be wearing armor, with the only way to kill them is of course shoot them in the head, which you can get no armor if you do so. The fighting, the ideal is fantastic, but actually doing it can go either way depending on the situation of the combat. So overall, I Am Alive is a very interesting game, but it has some major flaws in it. And personally, this is a game that not everyone gonna love. You're gonna love it, hate it, or just be kinda in the middle like me. So I recommend trying the game before you actually spend money on it. So overall, I give I Am Alive a 3 out of 5.
No!